Hi everyone, welcome to Miss Dew's algebra or pre-algebra class. Today we're going to talk about the flipped classroom. This video was done on Prezi. It's pretty cool. If you want to know how to do it, just come see me and I'll help you with it. Many educators, including Mrs. Delaney and I, are experimenting with the idea of a flipped classroom model. So what is it and why is everyone talking about it? Well, the flipped classroom inverts traditional teaching methods, delivering instruction online outside of class and moving homework into the classroom. The inversion is that you originally had a traditional classroom where the teacher's role was to lecture, and they call it a sage on the stage, kind of up there lecturing and teaching you how to do things, and then go home and you do the problems. Well, the flipped idea is that now at home you watch lectures online and learn about concepts online, and then you come in and practice what you've learned online in the classroom. Therefore, the teacher's role is changed, and I'm now a guide on the side instead of someone who you can't even access at night to help you with some of the problems that you're working on. So what does a flipped classroom do? Well, students watch lectures at home at their own pace and then communicate with peers and teachers via online discussions. Now, the second part of that, the communicating with peers and teachers via online discussions is something that we'll probably do later. But the powerful piece of this is that you're watching lectures at home at your own pace. That way you can pause the video, you can rewind it, you can watch things over, and that's a very powerful piece of this model. The concept engagement, engaging yourself in the concept, takes place in the classroom with the help of the instructor. So instead of doing problems at home, you now flip things, you do the lectures at home, and then you come into class and we practice those problems in class where I can help you. So what is driving this? Well, there's two key factors that are driving the increased adoption of the flipped classroom model. First of all, poor learning outcomes. The traditional one-size-fits-all model of education often results in limited concept engagement and severe consequences. And you can see that by the graphic here. Only 69% of students who start high school finish 4 years later. A second way is the prevalence of online video. In other words, the availability of online videos, and online video lessons are ones that you might be familiar with, is the Khan Academy. If you're not, we will go through those and I'll show you those this year. But also the increasing student access to technology has also paved the way for the flipped classroom models. So what does it look like? Well, many schools and classrooms have adopted it. Here we're going to look at Clintondale High School near Detroit, which has employed the flipped classroom model to great success. So how does it work? Well, teachers create 3 videos a week. I probably might only have 2 or 1, just depending. Students watch the 5 to 7 minute videos at home or in school if you don't have internet access at home. And then class time was spent doing labs or interactive activities to illustrate the concepts that you learned at home at night. Some of the benefits is that students receive instant feedback. In other words, when you're working on a problem, teachers have more time to help students and explain difficult concepts in class. Anything that you didn't understand the night before, we can address more readily. Students don't get as frustrated. Before, many students wouldn't complete homework if they got frustrated with it. Working on problems in class minimizes this problem. Another benefit is that teachers revisit concepts students don't understand. So using your flipped notebook, which we'll talk about in a little bit, you write down the summary of the video and some questions you have. So after you watch the lessons, you write down those questions, and then we can review those questions either as a class or individually. Teachers support students in class. Students who might not have technology or parents to help them outside of school now have teachers guiding them in class. So if you don't have that technology, we'll work around that. So it's about changing instructional models so the students can receive more instructional support in the classroom from the experts that Turkeyfoot has on staff. Here are the results for Clintondale High School. This is what actually happened. So before the flipped classroom, over 50% of freshmen failed English and over 40% of freshmen failed math. After they flipped the classroom, after they did this model, 19% of freshmen failed English and 13% of freshmen failed math. What are the requirements for you? Well, you are required to do the WISC model, and this is WSQ, stands for things that you have to do, and it's pronounced WISC. So the W in the WISC model means you watch the video. W means just watch, simply watch. The S stands for summarize. So you're going to use your flipped notebook to write down the important concepts you learned from the video. Number 2, you're going to write no less than 5 sentences. Number 3, you're going to write down any procedures so that you understand what you're doing, so that you have that in your notebook to look back on. And number 4, you're going to complete any practice problems given and make sure you can explain how you arrived at your answer the next day. We will discuss these summaries the next day in class. The Q stands for questions, and you have 3 options here. First option, you can write down no less than 2 questions. If you have more questions about the video, something you didn't understand, that's great. But please write down no less than 2 questions that you need clarification on. You can also, maybe you know everything. Maybe you get this concept and you don't have any questions for me. Well, write down 2 questions to ask of your peers that you know the answer to, and write down those answers too. Or 3, you can write 1 question of each above. But you have to write at least 2 questions. So be ready to share what you learned from the video using your summary and the questions you generated in the next class period. So that's the flipped classroom model. It's very innovative teaching and it's innovative learning. I think you'll enjoy it. So go ahead and write your summary now, and we'll look at those in class. If you have any questions, write those down also, and have a great night.